Left jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back
Yo, shout out to the hottest chat in the MFing game. A-side official. No negotiation needed, period. You already know WCS is the first in the building. Salute to those on deck. Big blunts and boxing in the building. Salute to your blunts. I see you. What's good, man? Let's get right down to it. To those of you that's inbound, man, you know what to do. I'm not going to instruct adults on what to do, man. I'm not going to do it, bro. Because I know I got some grown ass people that tune in to the channel. So, you know, you support. You know what I'm saying? I want to first start off by getting this David Benavidez situation out the way. Because I know a lot of you all was hanging on to his jock strap while he was dragging you behind, because he knew goddamn well he wasn't about to face no Crawford. I just wanted to put that out there for everyone who spent time that they can't get back in life talking about Crawford potentially facing David Benavidez. So it was rumored that he was going to step in there with David Morrell, a fighter that was a WBA Reggie champion at 168, and then decided to move up to 175 as David Benavidez and some others, and pick up a regular championship there. I said the other day, I said if there's anybody he should be fighting is a David Morrell, because you know David Morrell, he has the popularity behind him. There's a lot of people that believe in this guy, just like they believe in Benavidez. That'll be a good fight. But Benavidez put out, you know, coming off the Vostok, former champion, right, of 175, he put out that I will be fighting Jesse Hart next. Jesse Hart, not Morrell, but he is a future opponent, said David Benavidez on social media. He's fighting Jesse Hart. Okay? It's good to kind of take a look at Jesse Hart freaking resume, just because it's accessible online. And people should ask themselves, like, Was I really looking forward to seeing a Jess Hart, Benavidez fought a Jess Hart next. But let me bring up his freaking documentation. All right. And shout out to Jess Hart. I have nothing against him. All right. At all. No. Never met the guy except one time. If you know what I mean. So let me bring up his resume right quick, because I just want y'all to understand that we have questions as to why David Benavidez is fighting Jess Hart next. I mean, I'm pretty sure it has a lot to do with potentially him fighting the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol. You know what I'm saying? And he wants a stay busy fight. You think? You think that's what it is? So this is Jess Hart. He's 31 victories opposite of 3 defeats, y'all. 25 knockouts. He's hosting a quality, a respectful 80.65% knockout. His last fight was April 2024 against Daniel Aduku. He stopped him in 5. He's on a 5-fight winning streak after his fight with Joe Smith, which he lost a split decision. So even though this is not a name that we was looking for to face David Benavidez, he's not a slouch either. You know what I'm saying? If you look at him losing to Joe Smith, former champion, right? Then he lost to another former champion, Gilberto Ramirez. That was the WBO World Super Middleweight Champion. That's when Zerto was at 168. All right. And then Gilberto Ramirez again. Because a lot of people didn't really know Gilberto Ramirez if you weren't paying attention when he was at 168. Very tall, lanky fighter. Had over 40 professional wins, I believe, when he was at 68. And then he finally made the move up to 75. You know what I'm saying? And we saw him finally get the shot at Dimitri Bivol for the strap. And Bivol made him look very bad in that fight. And I like Gilberto Ramirez as a boxer. Real talk. But Jess Hart fought him twice. The first one he lost a unanimous decision, and the second one he lost a majority decision. So hey, he's been in there with some pretty decent names. Like you see this one right here, Damon Nichols at 168. Edgar Berlanga, this is the guy who took him the distance. This is the one who took Edgar Berlanga the distance for the first time in his career. Very solid fighter, Damon. You know what I'm saying? Very solid fighter. And Jess went in there and stopped him in 7 rounds. Berlanga was able to knock him down several times, but he wasn't able to get him up out of there. So you have former champion Gilberto Ramirez on here. You have Joe Smith Jr. You have Mike Guy. David Murray. So, long story short, Jess Hart is a reputable opponent who, if you take a look at this right here, these right here, he has several fights at 175. So he's not a first timer at 168 moving up to 175. He's been high as freaking cruiserweight, bro. So 35 years of age, never been stopped. That's what I'll be looking at. Can David Benavidez go in here and fight somebody like Jess Hart and do something that no one else has been able to do and stop him? We know Benavidez is not a one-punch knockout artist. He just went the distance with Vostik, but he can fight. Benavidez has quick hands. Plus he's at a new division, and we'll see how it plays out. It should be a very, very interesting fight. But to get back to my point earlier, I understand why he's fighting Jess Hart, but hopefully it's not a cherry pick gone wrong to pretty much, prep him on standby for the winner of this undisputed light heavyweight championship fight that's going to be happening real soon between Arthur Beterbiev and Dimitri Bivol. So keep your eyes tuned on that, Shawty. Keep your eyes. Shout out to Christopher White in the building. I see you, Christopher. What's good? What's good, man? Shout out to the OG, Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. What's good? What's good? Salute to you. You know? Yeah, that's why I put the disclaimer up there. You know what I'm saying? That it's fake news that he's fighting Morrell. You know, even though a lot of people may have wanted to see that fight prior to, it's just no. They would rather see, Benavidez get his shot at the winner of this undisputed bout. Because it should be a very electric fight. I mean, seriously, this fight, this unification undisputed fight at 175, man, both fighters have shown that they have everything it takes to go in there and make this extremely competitive. Boxing IQ is not even a question between these guys. Stamina is not a question. People can throw age, but there hasn't been a declivity point where we can say that Arthur Beterbiev has degraded in the ring. He's showing that, he's a bit older now and slow. He haven't showed us that, So there's no need to go for style for style. They match up very well. It's gonna be a hell of a fight. But for Benavidez, we look forward to seeing him step in there and see what he's talking about with Jesse Hart. Let's see how that plays out for Benavidez. It should be a very tough fight for him. Jesse Hart is no slouch, no pushover. Like I said, his losses come from former champions. Hey, don't sleep on him. Don't sleep on him. You know what I'm saying? Don't sleep on him. Real talk. So we're going to move on past this. All right. I want to, before I go there, I want to let you take a listen to, I want to share screen right quick and take you through the article first of David Benavidez. I'm not going to read the entire one, but I just want you to be brief. Benavidez fighting Jess Hart next, not Morrell. It says David Benavidez posted on social media today that he's fighting Jess Hart next rather than WBA regular light heavyweight champion David Morrell. 29-0, 24 knockouts. Says Morrell is a future opponent. That's a big letdown for fans who had hoped that the 11-year pro Benavidez would take a step up in competition by facing Morrell rather than another ham and egger like he's been doing for most of his career. Look, this is why I read articles because, over here, they tend to get a bit with the over easy. When you have them over easy eggs and they run all on your plate, yes, that's Boxing News 24. You know what I'm saying? They put them runny eggs on your plate that bleed over into your grits, your hash browns, your sausage, you know what I'm saying? And your toast, get your toast all soggy. They call David Benavidez's resume a ham and eggs, y'all. And they busy up here trying to put this ham and egg on Crawford. But I'm going to keep on reading. The 35-year-old Hart, 31 325 knockouts, is ranked number 3 WBO and number 14 WBC and 175. So Benavidez will be defending his WBA interim light heavyweight title against a contender in the WBC rankings. It's not a big shock that Benavidez is swerving a fight against the dangerous puncher David Morrell because he's the WBC mandatory to IBF, WBC, WBO, 175-pound Artur Beterbiev, who is facing WBA champ Dimitri Bivol on October 12th for the undisputed champion in Riyadh. Benavidez has a guaranteed title shot against the Beterbiev-Bivol winner at some point, and there's a lot of money for him to scoop up. We're talking millions Benavidez will get by fighting the winner in one of the Riyadh season events. Okay? If Benavidez were to, hold on for a second, y'all. Hold on. What was that? If Benavidez were to fight the Cuban talent, Dave Morrell, he'd be putting that enormous payday at risk. So if you looked at, my several lives prior to this, yeah, other people may have been talking about this Benavidez Crawford, but I know it was a bunch of bullshit. It was garbage. You know what I'm saying? It's just like playing around with a lot of plastic bottles. You know what I'm saying? You reminiscing about what used to be in it. I'm just being real petty right now because I'm saying to myself, he has other situations going on. He has an opportunity to become undisputed. So all this Crawford talk is just because he put it out there for free promo. I don't blame the fighters because the promotion is not going to give you all this pro bono work. It's going to be the Ant Club. You know what I'm saying? They're going to go to the Ant Club. They're going to go to the septic tank of boxing and make sure they go scrounging around, running to put thumbnails and do live streams. And that's why I was just putting, the Crawford content up, when it comes to Canelo and especially Benavidez, because I knew this shit wasn't going to happen. He'd be a fool to risk losing to a Crawford and then say, well, I'm still, in line to face the winner of Better Be Even Bivol. Not if you lose to a 154-pounder, you're not. But it's all good. It's all good hearing the voices that are up here, saying that, Benavidez want to do this, Benavidez want to get back. But what they refuse to mention is that he already had a fight lined up in his division. That's more important, right? I mean, if we're speaking sensibly, that's extremely important to note that the man is how many divisions above? 60, 68, 75? 3 whole divisions? And he has his biggest fight of his career looming in the midst? And he's going to try to run the gauntlet with Crawford? It ain't going to happen. That shit never would have happened. It was all good for TV and just light banter. It's good for sidebar conversations at the bar. You know what I'm saying? But we all knew David Benavidez wasn't going to face no freaking Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Nor has he did anything to qualify him to face a Bud Crawford. But moving on. It says if Benavidez were to lose to Morrell, he could say goodbye to the undisputed fight against Better Be Even Bivol. Instead, it would be Morrell who would be the one getting all the cash, whereas Benavidez would be left picking up the pieces of his career. And those of you that's tuned in, as they mentioned, picking up the pieces. I don't know why people find it so easy to think that when it comes to Crawford, he's supposed to be the caregiver to these fighters who's not living the lifestyle that he's living. So he can go out here and pile up all these accolades. And you can have fighters like Benavidez who's basically twice wrenched. I'm talking about, what happened when you wrench a towel? You wrench a towel, and if it's soaked and saturated, what comes out of it? The liquid, right? That's what happened to his titles. You know what I'm saying? He wrenched the hell out there, and them things came dropping on the floor. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter if he was in a pandemic. None of that. You have a lot of these fighters that's fucking up, and people tend to want to bring out the broom a little bit and say, let me clean up. Let me do some spring cleaning right quick before WCS talk about this shit. I don't want him to see no debris out here on the floor now. But I'm saying, like, Benavidez dropped his title twice. He's not qualified to speak on no Crawford. You should be qualified to get the shot where you at, right? To get the shot where you at since they played you. They was up here boosting up Benavidez to fight Demetrius Andrade. And then after he beat him, he'll get the shot with Canelo. No, that wasn't true. Right? That wasn't true. Be honest with yourselves. That wasn't true. So, moving on, he's at 175. And he said he hoped Canelo takes some of that money and purchase some cojones. That's after his apology tour. I'm just putting it out there, Benavidez, man. You're a good guy, man. But all this, avenging your brother and all that. No, no. You screwed up everything for your brother and yourself. It goes on to say the news has upset many fans who view it as another example of Benavidez ducking the talented Cuban Morel, 11-0, 9 knockouts, who has been calling him out for years with no success. Well, the one thing I will reside heavy on the side of Benavidez is that 2 Reggie belts, 11 professional wins in the sport. Is Morel, is he a qualified applicant to call out Benavidez? Sort of, kind of. If the threshold of the ranking division is extremely dense, you know what I'm saying? Because some of these divisions are in the kids pool. You know what I'm saying? It's not even a foot deep. You go down 3 or 4 fighters and you're like, huh? It's real Shaggy. You're like, who is that? Who this? I ain't never heard of that person before. So, Morel, he moved up and picked up another strap. So he's consistent. So I think, if I was to be petty, I say, well, David Benavidez has 2 titles. David Morel, you know what I'm saying? He has 2 titles. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know people look at the titles different, but 11 victories in, you have to take a look who else could be lined up in that division and say, well, up the road, he's right. David Benavidez is right. Up the road, it may be. It goes on to say Benavidez is receiving a tremendous backlash from angry fans on X who are lighting into the fighter's nickname, the Mexican Monster. Even though this dude spelled Mexican wrong, he spelled it M-E-I cricket letter A-N. And no, that's not it, brother. That's not how you spell Mexican. He said the Mexican Monster by Mike Tyson, but who has yet to beat anyone actually to earn the moniker. Ooh, that hot grease dripping. God damn, somebody need to get some of that goddamn grease out that motherfucker. God damn. This guy ain't playing. Who is this author? Ambrose back at it. Ambrose back at it, shawty. Ambrose said, rather than fight Morel, Benavidez had been padding his record against the likes of Demetrius Andrade, David Lemieux, Caleb Plant, Karan Davis, and Oleksandr Bostic. Ambrose, I don't agree with you on that. Padding, a Caleb Plant, former champion Oleksandr Bostic? No, that's not true. That's not true at all. David Lemieux, he's one of the journeymen that's up at that weight division, And of course, Demetrius Andrade is 2 division champion, man. He's legit. He's certified, man. You can't just say he's padding his record with names, all these names right here. No, I disagree with you on that. It said that the grizzled veteran, Jess Hart, is known for his 2 losses to Gilberto Ramirez and Joe Smith Jr. Hart's best career win came against journeyman Damon Nicholson. Other than him, Hart's resume is empty of quality victories. Hart has won his last 5 fights against little-known contenders since losing to Joe Smith in 2020. It's unclear why he's been given a 3rd ranking by the WBO, but I guess they have their reasons. Solid article by Dan Ambrose, but I just want to run you all through this. That Benavidez is fighting Jess Hart, not Morel. He's fighting Jess Hart, not Morel. Okay? All right? Next, I want to take you to a short I want to take you through a short clip with the Triple OG Bob Arum in his comments what he mentioned about Anthony Joshua. I found it very much in line with what I said on here. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Fight Hub TV. Shout out to them. Um, I'm just gonna play the audio. I'm just gonna play the audio. Y'all hold on for a second. Okay, let me bring up this audio with Bob Arum, the Triple OG, top ranks on the flagship of promotions. You know what I'm saying? Let's play this audio right quick, and I want you to hear what he said about Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn. And that's the same thing I was talking about as far as, you know, Eddie Hearn trying to run him to a fight with Fury off the strength of his remaining appraising value and star power just because he's Anthony Joshua. No, you got terminated. You got terminated. So pay attention. Listen in. Let's go.
Hey, do you think he should take the rematch?
There's no rematch. That's Eddie Hearn's bullshit.
Bob Arum say, "It's no rematch. That's Eddie Hearn's bullshit."
There was no rematch clause. Dubois signed a 2-fight deal with the Saudis, and I think really that the best fight for Dubois is to fight the winner of Fury and Usyk, and that's what he'll do. There's no rematch clause.
I agree with him. The best fight is, Dubois is the IBF world champion, and he should get the fight with the winner of Fury Usyk. Period. Forget trying to make this fight because it's one more fight remaining over there for, I guess Joshua in Riyadh, and he's trying to go over there and soak up some of that, that monetary liquid, and he just didn't earn it. He looked bad. And to go over there and think that people are going to see something different just because it's a different style, depending on who wins, if Usyk, who have already beaten Fury once, goes in there and beats Fury again, you're talking about him defeating Fury and him defeating Joshua. So they should fight, period. I mean, Daniel Dubois should be the one who fight Alexander Usyk, and wherever they want to fight, behind the alley, inside a dumpster, you know what I'm saying, the back room of a pool hall, that's where Fury and Joshua should fight. behind the local pub, in the local pub, or something. But the fighter who deserves it is Daniel Dubois. That's if Usyk wins, if Fury wins. You know what I'm saying? Joshua's lost to Usyk twice, man. Nobody's trying to see that.
I mean, possibly they could do a rematch, but there's no contractual obligation.
Was a rematch should take place between the two, do you think it would play out any different? Do you think AJ just had an off night?
No,
He said, "Do you think AJ had an off night?"
you don't have an off night getting the shit kicked out of you that way. I just think AJ, has been through a lot of wars, and I think it's over for him as well as over for Wilder.
So I just wanted you to hear that. He said he didn't think that AJ had an off night the way he lost and got beat up. And I totally agree. I don't think he had an off night. I think for sure that he was outclassed. Daniel Dubois has been on this momentum like you wouldn't believe. I don't know who said what. I don't know if he had a vision. I don't know if he, you know what I'm saying, he's seen an angel come to him. But Daniel Dubois is fighting like a heavyweight that, yeah, it's good to see this type of heavyweight. Like, Daniel Dubois just came out of nowhere, man. Like, he's fighting like he got some serious power to be reckoned with, just like McCauley. Seriously, it seems like he has that power in his shots, just like McCauley. You know what I'm saying? Seriously. Real talk. Let's get down to the nitty gritty of, shout out to Bob Arum, Top Rank. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. He was spot on with that. One thing I want to get to after the chat is to see if any one of you out there have heard anything other, anything else on the Canelo situation. But shout out to Mr. International Toby Bartlett on deck. You know what I'm saying? Salute to you, man. I see you in the building. He said, salute WCS in the hottest chat in the YTC. We're global, baby. We're global. It's hot in the kitchen tonight, and the grease is even hotter. Yes, man, we have to continue to, prepare the meal. You know what I'm saying? Forget setting the table. Forget setting the table. You know what I'm saying? They don't need all that help. Forget setting the table. Seriously. Arnold Brown in the building. I see you. What's good with it? Salute to you, brother. So I want to know if anybody in the chat, right, has came up on any information, besides the Crawford Fundora. I mean, not the Crawford, the Spence Fundora situation. We talked about that the other day. But what really, should be prioritized right now, since David Benavidez is fighting Jess Hart, is for the BS to stop, talking about him potentially facing Crawford and all that, and talk about the real fight. Who else y'all gonna put off on Crawford? There's nobody else to put off on Crawford. It's not a Ennis. It's not a Benavidez. It's nobody else. You can't put Belonga, because Belonga's up here co-signing Crawford, and it seems to have some of these cats, they panties ain't a wad. You know what I'm saying? They getting a little upset. They said no. We was gonna say that you know what I'm saying, Crawford should fight Belonga next. But Belonga's up here co-signing that Crawford will potentially beat Canelo Alvarez. So, that X'd out that angle that they was probably gonna take. So who's next? Who's next? Because, the biggest fight in boxing, so we can see it in 2025, is Cinco de Crawford. We want to see this historic fight, man. Now that they done went through their little phase, it's just like a little outbreak of poison ivy. You know what I'm saying? They cause a little bit of rash and all this stuff right here. But we got some calamine lotion and put it on that. And now that the fight has been announced, they can stop, trying to clout chase with Benavidez to fight Crawford when he already has a fight. Okay? We can put that to bed. What I want to know now is, can you all, the naysayers out there, focus all your attention on trying to make the biggest fight in boxing? That's all. That's all we're requesting. We are requesting that you basically prioritize, you know what I'm saying, your media narratives, because we don't want for anyone to think that we have a fight out here and it's not being made because these content creators want to use deflections all over the place, and they want to say that, yeah, there may be names on the ranking system, but he's pretty much cleaned out the 168-pound division. So when you have somebody that has the freaking qualifications, as I always mention, then they want to find a detour. There's nobody else to put up there. I'm glad that they finally swallowed that piece of lint that they was talking about with Teofimo Lopez, because there's no way that Crawford would even consider that fight. I mean, you never know. You never know. Sometimes you got to pop out and show a fighter like Teo that, can go out there and get your ass beat. So they haven't really mentioned the lint, in Teo anymore. That was just a short-lived moment. I'm pretty sure, give or take, it's Thursday, give or take, he'll come back around and then he'll say something crazy about, yeah, Crawford, they sent me why they him sent me an offer. He know I'm the biggest name. I got 2 sponsorships and all that. No, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to sit up here and ignore the fact that we have to put it out there again that he gets absolutely nothing. He told Spence to his face that he don't need him for his legacy. I'm telling you, he don't need Teo for nothing. Teo does nothing for his legacy. It's not like he's even getting an O for that, unless it's on the back end of his first name. You know what I'm saying? And the second letter in his last name. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. We don't get nothing else from Teo. Ennis has a fight coming up. Don't do that. They'll probably come back after Ennis and see, depending on how the Karen fight go, they'll probably come back up here and say, can you select me, please? The way Ennis came in that fight, hey, I think it's time again. No, we're not doing that. They say they want to unify. They still have Brian Norman Jr. The bad part about this upcoming fight with Ennis is not a title fight to unify. So you still have 3 other champions out there at 147 pounds. So we let him be. Anything else is out there is irrelevant, because now we have to look at Canelo being a long-term member of the pound-for-pound list, and Crawford being one of the long-standing members. So if we want to talk about straight-up qualifications to make this fight happen, there's no other name out there. They can sit up there and talk about divisions all day long. They can sit up there and seem like they soft as Jell-O pudding in the car in the summertime. Just soft. And talk about, it's weight divisions and y'all know Crawford. No, we don't know. That's why we want to make this fight happen. That's why we need you all to come on back, jump within your sanity, because boxing needs to continue to have, big fights every year. And we have 2 fighters that are going to be on their way out the door soon enough. And yeah, we need to see this before they get too old. We need to see this, man. Y'all acting like Canelo is unbeatable. He's been beaten since Floyd. You know what I'm saying? He's been beaten since Floyd Mayweather. For a long time, yes, Floyd Mayweather had bragging rights. For a long time, until he jumped up there and felt that Bivol was a nice juicy cherry. And no, he got ramsacked. Now with Crawford, he just, he's all confused. He's like, well, he's coming up from a lower division. He's definitely dangerous, but I don't want to let the public know he's dangerous. So I'm gonna continue to say, well, I get nothing from him. He's easy work. Will you fight him? Yeah, sure. I'll fight him, but never take any action to get the contract signed. Those Canelo advocates out there, stop putting these fighters that haven't earned anything on the scale of a Crawford or Canelo and say that's who Canelo needs to fight. If you're going to say Canelo needs to fight a fighter other than Crawford and he lacks the qualifications as tardy, then you yourself is considered to be a casual boxing fan. Real talk. If you're unwilling to say, I want to give this man maximum credit for achieving what he achieved, but it ain't no but. You can't put nobody else at 168 pounds. We don't want to see no Caleb Plant rematch. We sure enough don't want to see no Billy Joe Saunders. You know, Calvin Smith is at 175 now. You know what I'm saying? We don't want, hey, look, they might even come up with this, y'all. Hey, Crawford. Hey, man, you know we looking out for your best interest. David Benavidez says it'll be up the road, but you need to go over there and fight David Morrell. Oh, my God. See, Crawford don't need to fight nobody that doesn't have at least 23 victories. And then you need at least 2.5 divisional championships. For real. 2.5 can be, you know, one of those divisions you can have a Reggie belt or something. Or an interim. You know that interim title? That can give you a 0.5 rating. You know, the Reggie belt can give you a 0.5. You know what I'm saying? Something that's considered to be an accolade, but not really recognized by the hardcore boxing fans out here. That's all I'm saying. Y'all need to get on the horn, round up the Canelos, the Canelo strap carriers, get them together, corral them, you know, wipe off their feathers, and please speak to them. Make sure you have a hand full of breadcrumbs to get them all nice and, nice, put a little sugar on there, get them all nice and comfortable, warm them up a little bit. And try to give your presentation. Say, hey, Canelo, the only fight that makes sense is you and Crawford, period. Stop playing. Stop trying to come up with all these other names. Stop sitting up here, using Teofimo like he's Justin Bieber and Diddy and you Diddy. Stop doing that, bro. That was so cringeworthy. I ain't gonna lie. That was very cringeworthy there, T.O. For real. And there's no knock on Justin, man. I wish you nothing but the best. But goddamn Canelo, you gave me that Mexican Diddy when you goddamn put your hand and you was patting T.O. on top of his head and say, yeah, Crawford. Yeah, here you go right here. Go up here and fight T.O. That's what you need to do. And T.O. up there, wide-eyed like, yeah. Daddy, you heard Daddy. You heard what Daddy said. Daddy said, you need to fight me. And then all of a sudden, he over there at the Nello Mansion. You know what I'm saying? Shadow boxing and slipping on goddamn that oil. For real. Wasn't that quick? Like he co-signed, right? Canelo's co-signed for T.O. Beaver. And then all of a sudden, he's over there at the mansion. I'm like, dang, was anybody recording over there? Did they? Can we get the footage? Because we saw Canelo over there doing the dick swinging with Edgar Berlanga on stage. And then you saw Edgar over there, going through the motion like he was jacking something off. I'm not sure what it was. He could have been just warming up his wrist. He might have thought he need to swing on Nello or something. But when he was doing that dick swinging and act like he was slapping somebody's ass, I'm like, maybe we should be looking in boxing and not just in the entertainment business, because That little scenario right there didn't look good to me. That didn't look good to me at all. It just reminds me of that 48 hours that Diddy said he was gonna have with B. I was like, oh my God. Damn. That's fucked up. Toby said Dubois has always had that power. He was KOing people for fun until George stopped him. Then his career took a bit of a rebuilding, but Frank Warren kept his faith. You know, some people tend to, have a blind eye to power. When he was in there with Joe Joyce and he just stood in the same spot and his eye started to swell and the power really didn't matter. It's just like a wrong game plan. Let's just say your boxing IQ. He lacked the boxing IQ to make an adjustment to Joe Joyce, who kept on just peppering with the jab. And so he really didn't have enough time to exploit, you know what I'm saying, to delegate that power that you're saying he has. I'm not saying you're wrong, Definitely, that's a good point made, him always having the power. But in the Joe Joyce fight, that was a moment where we didn't get to see him do any of it. I mean, we didn't get to see none of that. Seriously. He just stood right there on line, and that eye got lit up. But the Dubois we've been seeing lately, you ask yourself, that couldn't be the same Dubois that fought Joyce. Not the Joyce that's been stopped already twice. And Paul's, y'all remember when I was telling you I went to interview some of these fighters, and I was up in Cincinnati where a fighter just froze up. That's what happened right there. When Joe Joyce was being interviewed, that fighter froze up the same way. His eyes got glazed over, and he turned to me, and he said, "Now it's not a good time." Like when Mike Tyson did on that interview, that is exactly what I was talking about, man. That's exactly what happened when Joe Joyce did that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I used to be a big Teofimo fan, but since the Loma fight, I've lost interest in him fight by fight. And what he says outside the ring is just pure clout chasing bullshit. Well, I tried to carry him as long as I possibly can. And it just seems like he wanted to turn this into, target a black fighter whenever he can and say some controversial shit, because he felt like that'll get him the reaction and attention that he need. And with Tio, I always told people he was a manipulator when it comes to the media, but now it gets to a point where it's just stale. I can see if you was knocking out these previous opponents. I can see if you went in there and stopped Sandor Martin. I can see that. I can see if you went in there and stopped Jermaine Ortiz, right? Or just put on a dominating performance. But Martin and Ortiz is just like people going back on Shakur Stevenson and remember Toka Conklari and Jeremiah Nakathilia. They look at those two fights and they say, man, those is two boring fights. So they slammed the door on him when he went in there with Edwin De Los Santos and kind of emulated the same thing. And no knock on Shakur, bro. I'm just doing some comparisons and shit, bro. That's all. It's just boxing talk. But that's what was T.O. demise. That's why people are not really jumping on board. That's why I jumped off. Because he's going in here having these subpar performances. Both his eyes swelled up and everything against Clagett. But yet he's going up here talking about old fighters. But you are taking extremely amount of damage in your 20s. You are taking extremely amount of damage in your 20s. And we just seen what happened to Joe Joyce freezing up. And Joe Joyce is in his 30s. Of course, he was being fast-tracked. And they was trying to get him to, that title shot. And everything like that. But obviously, everybody's neurological system is wired different, as I always say. Everybody components, their mechanical components, their database, their servers, everyone is different when you're talking about routing and mapping and transmitting information. It's all different. So when it comes to pugilistica and you see these fighters stuttering and shit, and then you say to yourself, you start going back in their resume, you say, well, who did he fight? This and that. He didn't seem like he took a lot of punishment. Or you'll say, well, he did take a lot of punishment. You know, there's some fighters out there that took a lot of punishment and they're still clear. Their response time, their TTL is absolutely superb. You know what I'm saying? So it's bad to see Joe Joyce freezing up like that. I feel bad for him, man, because you know, pugilistic it gets bad, yo. You know, it can turn into that dementia, and I hope he get it checked out, bro. Real talk. Shout to Tough Glove Boxing in the building. Salute to your brother. Definitely check out Tough Glove. You already know. If you don't know, go over there and hit the sub. You know what I'm saying? Support the brother's channel. Support his content, man. Appreciate you pulling up as always. DuckTales all day. For sure, bro. All I'm doing is just trying to spread the word, like to see the biggest fight. But these other cats, they seem like they want to create a storyline. You know what I'm saying? They want to throw a couple of animated characters in there. You know, but come on, man. They're always talking about documentation beats conversation. But when you present the documentation, man, they want to have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? This shit don't add up to me, man. I'm not all about going back and forth. If you saying that someone has the documentation, just like putting in the apps, or just like, filling out something on online form for a job, for occupation, and you have the qualification, you list those qualifications. They trying to say on the YTC, there's a gap when it comes to literacy. You know what I'm saying? People are basically telling on themselves that they was in in-house detention more than anything. Because they'll sit up here and tell you everything that proves that their favorite fighter should fight this person. You know what I'm saying? Because documentation beat conversation. Okay. But when Crawford name come up to Canelo, both of them have the qualifications. Especially Canelo being the high tier payee. You know what I'm saying? That's receiving the high, paychecks right now. He has the boxing qualifications. But how do we continue to bring up, right? We're talking about thousands of boxers in the sport. How do you take one boxer globally in an annual sport, Canelo Alvarez, yes, okay? How do you say evidence, you're going to present this evidence that Crawford doesn't deserve to fight Canelo because he hasn't did the amount of ticket sales or pay-per-view sales? That doesn't make any sense at the end of the day. You know why? Because if that had any freaking clarity to it, or if it was relevant for their argument, it would be more than one fighter getting paid the amount of money just like Canelo Alvarez. You only have one fighter out of thousands that's getting these huge paychecks, yo. But yet, you want to say, when it comes to the documentation, the paperwork, you can't say it's only one champion with 4 divisions to their name. You can't say that. You can't say it's only one champion with 3 divisions to their name. You cannot say that. You can't say it's only one undisputed professional boxer in the forebear era that's on the list. You can't say that. You cannot say it. So we have to pull the gauge out and check the pressure and say you're busy trying to manually let the air out of these tires so the ride won't be as smooth, and this request for Crawford to fight Canelo won't go the distance that it's supposed to because you up here letting the air out the motherfucking tires. The documentation is there. How can you want to compare the pay-per-view numbers when there's not even other fighters? Tank, let's add Tank in there. Canelo, Tank. Are they even considered 1% in the class of boxers worldwide that's doing solid pay-per-view numbers and have the star power? They're not even considered 1%, yo. But yet we're going to continue to halt one of the biggest fights in boxing, all because people want to keep on throwing dumb scenarios up there and saying, "Oh, so and so ain't putting butts in the seat like Canelo. Canelo doing this, Canelo doing that." But have you ever thought you keep saying Canelo, 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 but it's nobody else that you can compare him to when it comes to pay-per-view? So if if you cannot present that evidence, how do you expect your argument to disqualify Crawford from stepping in the ring? So if that is debunked, then you'll turn around and say, well, it's weight divisions. Well, once again, we go back in history and we've had fighters move up several divisions and fight another fighter, whether they did it division per division or they skipped divisions and went up. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was sitting up here clowning Adrian Broner when he went from 35 to 47. You know what I'm saying? And fought Paulie and then dropped back down to 40 and fought the Nurmagomedov. Nobody was clowning Adrian Broner. It's boxers that have basically, you know, jumped outside the comfort zone. And we constantly know Mikey Garcia's out there. These same individuals was not talking about Mikey Garcia being unqualified. If Mikey Garcia, a 4-division champion, and his highest division, his heaviest division was 140, how can you disqualify someone who had moved back down to 135 to fight for the IBF and then move back up 2 divisions and fight 147 without saying he was unqualified? No one was talking about Mikey's pay-per-view numbers, not even to the fact that they was they was willing to say, you know, Mikey took some time away from boxing because he was in that legal fight with Top Rank, and you know, he was out of sport for, you know, over a year and a half, and so we got to put that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, during that time he would have had some pay-per-view numbers. Yeah, no, Mikey did not have the pay-per-view numbers like that. Mikey was never, you know, that super exciting fighter when it came to the PR. But Mikey was a legitimate Hall of Famer, 4-weight world champion, absolutely. You know, the Garcia clan, shout out to them, Hall of Fame. And no one wasn't giving that Mikey Garcia talk that he wasn't qualified to fight Spence. Just like when it came to Spence talking about fighting Canelo, nobody was giving this, hey, man, there's too many divisions for Spence. And I remember people telling me when I was saying, you know, he would get absolutely murdered. They was actually telling me I was hating because I don't have nothing good to say. They was actually shedding tears, really. You know, I didn't actually see physical tears, but I can only imagine, you know, they really wanted to put some tear emojis in their text. But every time they did, that shit just kept absorbing when they because I had that tear filter up there. You know what I'm saying? I had that tear blocker up there when you send me a freaking message. Don't put no fucking tears in the text. Toby said, Bud certainly doesn't need to take orders or advice on who he should fight from David Benavidez or anyone similar. All I'm saying is, if there was a fighter, right, that, let's just say, if there was 3 fighters, let's just use that, 3 fighters that was somewhat in the same position that was in reach for Bud to fight. You know, now that he's a freaking 154-pound champion, right? So we can look at 160, but in the 160-pound division, it is like a closet. Not just any closet, not your grandmother's closet. I'm talking about a closet in an abandoned home that's been uninhabitable for at least about 6 years. We're talking about my favorite Macy's during the pandemic, Dusty. Ain't shit been going on. You know, Mal Charlo was the WBC champion, and he ain't defended that joint in a long ass time. And then they looked out for him, and then he came and had a fight with Jose Benavidez at a catchweight. And Mauricio Suleiman was like, hey, we are going to protect Jamal Charlo and wish him a speedy recovery. We are not going to strike. I like that. I appreciate Mauricio because, you know, some individuals were putting a tag on him that he was racist and all that. That's a made man. You know, that's a made man right there. His pops was in the game. That's a made man, Mauricio. But you always had these motherfuckers, man, these dumb motherfuckers try to say he was racist, but he looked out for Charlo. Now, some of them belts that come from the WBC, the Freedom Belt, now, that make me scratch my motherfucking head, dog. I'm saying, no way, no how I'm having that shit up in my house. And then, you know, a lot of black people aren't truly black. You know, they got some brown people, some beige, some red. You know what I'm saying? And the two hands that was on that Freedom Belt, man, it looked like somebody went heavy on the goddamn black paint, dog. You know, that shit look a little slave, 12 years a slave. But anyway, back on topic. I'm just saying, if it was 3 fighters, don't have to be in the same division. At the level of Canelo Alvarez, within reach for Crawford, it would be better if they were not from the same country. You know what I'm saying? And then Crawford were reaching out to fight either one of the 3. But just like my point was made, these individuals want to, you know, put these little notes on the paper and not really look at the total volume of fighters globally. How many fighters are in Canelo's position? 1. Is there a second place that's close to him? No. So that excludes every argument that you have to say you want to compare Crawford's pay-per-view numbers when you can't get a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, a 8, a 9, a 10. You cannot find 9 other fighters straight. Now you can find one more fighter in Tank Davis. And even him, you know what I'm saying? He's looking to start getting in recession, you know, consistently those Canelo checks. All right. But even with that said, what about the other 8? They're not there. I'm talking about consistently. You're talking about the last 4 fights. No one's going to say that Canelo made $5 million for one of those fights. Nobody's going to say he made $5 million for one of those fights, bro. So that's why I'm at with Crawford. They want to give you, you know, this narrative. They want to push this narrative and give you this information like it's strict criteria. No one's never going to be able to compete with Canelo and the money that he get. He is him. Canelo is Canelo. No one's going to be able to compete with his money. He is who he is. But a fighter that has the paperwork, the qualifications when it comes to the physical aspect of boxing, when it comes to the competitiveness, when it comes to the BOW, body of work, the boxing ledger, that qualifies him. So there should be room for negotiations to make this freaking fight happen. Not talking about Crawford haven't did no pay-per-views, he don't sell. That's everybody below him besides Tank. That's everybody. Even Tank don't, you know, it's not fighting as frequent getting those Canelo checks. So you want to look at the other 8. If you want to get 10 fighters, you want to go for the other 8. Who are they? For you to block this Crawford-Canelo fight, since it's all about money, where are the Edgar Berlanga numbers? Where are the John Ryder numbers? Where are the Mel Charlo numbers? Where are the Hammy McGill numbers? So if you can't sit up here and present that evidence, then you're bullshit. So there's no reason that Canelo should be ducking. There's no reason this fight shouldn't happen. There's no freaking reason it shouldn't happen. Because you can't find no one. And not only that, with the 3 fighters. You heard what I said? They're not in the same division. You can't even find somebody on Canelo's level that's in a different division. You can't find it in 60. You can't find it in 75. Really, none of these guys, yeah. Better be even Bivol's about to fight for undisputed. But they're not about to make Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk money. And we can't go to the extreme and use the heavyweight division because that's way outside the range of Crawford, fighting in. That's just being fair and reasonable. The Don Charles effect on Dubois we're seeing now. Don's great old school teacher, and Daniel is a great student, in my opinion. I see him, slowly but surely, cracking away at that outer layer that had him out here looking crazy. Whatever, was going on with him, placing limitations on his ability to have confidence and to go out here and show that confidence, that has since changed, man. I don't know if it was age. Like I said, I don't know if he had a prayer with a certain priest, whatever the case may be. But the way he fought Jarrell Miller, that shit right there was motivating. Real talk, that was motivating right there. That's a fight you can go back and watch. That was motivating. That was a Rocky moment. All they needed was the Rocky freaking. All they had to do is put the Rocky music in when he went in there against Usyk, and they showed him on his knees when he just deflated because a lot of people will say now, yeah, he probably hurt Usyk. But when he was on his knees and the fight got stopped and they were saying he was a quitter, to him fighting Jarrell Miller and stopping him at the end, going in there beating up Herkovic, and goddamn going up here and destroying Joshua, man, that's a Rocky moment. Now, that's a Dubois moment, but you know what I'm saying. Nobody talking about Pacquiao moving from fly to 147 pounds. Yes, sir. And nobody's talking about Pacquiao thinking his 10th or 11th fight was knocked out cold. Knocked out cold. Now, think about this, Toby and everybody else in the chat. Imagine if Bud would have got knocked out cold early in his career by Gamboa. They was talking about Gamboa hurting Crawford with a shot to the chest. Could you imagine if Gamboa dropped Crawford and he fought Gamboa where? Omaha, Nebraska, shouty. He fought him in Omaha in his home. Could you imagine him getting dropped in his hometown? Pacquiao got flatlined. He got knocked out, stopped. But he is considered a legend. He's an 8-division champion. How did he come all the way up, man? How? How did that dude come from that? And look, every time he steps in the ring, do they mention flyweight, Toby? Have you ever heard them mention fly? Oh, man, see, here we go again. Floyd want to fight a flyweight. Here we go again. Goddamn. What? Look, you never heard this, Toby. When Spence was supposed to step in there, man, see Spence fighting a flyweight. They let Spence get away with a lot, and that's his fans. Spence ain't got shit to do with that, but he didn't come out and say, you know what I'm saying, I don't want to fight Pacquiao because he's a flyweight. People was up here talking about, oh yeah, Spence about to fight Pacquiao, but he's old. He doesn't have the same step he did. But yet, depending on who the fighter, they put that exemption paperwork in for pre-approval. But if Crawford was the one going in there fighting Pacquiao, oh my God. See, here you go again, cherry picking. That's an easy touch for Crawford. Man, why he's going to fight Pacquiao, man? Damn. You know, it's not a good look. Unless Crawford would have went in there and had a performance like Keith Thurman did. You know what I'm saying? Pacquiao went in there and dropped him early. Yeah, they would have loved that. But see, that's the one thing about Bud. He's missing those moments which fight fans want to pretty much tag him with that never happened. They want to accuse him of being a part of situations that never happened. And the only reason they do that is to prove a point, to prevent him from having, the maximum, the optimum star power that he should, for them to be talking about this Canelo fight. They want to come up here and present all these freaking scenarios on why this man ain't qualified. But his paperwork is right there for you. Stapled, paper clipped, packaged. It's right there for public record. All of a sudden, these soft, modern day era content creators, they want to say, oh, I just want to be honest with you, the weight is just too much. But you weren't saying that about Spence. I will bring it up 1,000 times. You all were not saying that about Spence, man. Y'all weren't saying it about Spence. You were not saying that bullshit when Spence went on national television, when we was hoping and wishing that we would hear news breaking about him and Crawford. He's up here saying, yeah, it'd be better to move up there and face Canelo Alvarez. Yo, Adrian. You know what I'm saying? Like, he up there, we thinking he about to tell us, yeah, I want to fight Crawford undisputed. Crawford, yeah, he already know I'm going for, welterweight undisputed. So people kind of zoomed in on that. They more focused on him fighting for welterweight undisputed. He's telling us that it'll be a whole lot better if he move up to from 147 up 3 divisions to face Canelo Alvarez. And these dudes was quiet. No, you're not going to get away with that bullshit. Nope, you're not. You're not. Y'all was up here co-signing a Canelo Errol Spence fight because deep down inside, they didn't really see a high-level threat, being he had the accident, and plus he was one-dimensional. They felt it would be a pretty good fight for Canelo to win. But they didn't really have no gripes and complain about Spence putting it out there that he wanted to fight him instead of Crawford. He didn't say he didn't want to fight Crawford at all. He just was pretty much doing what the Canelo fans are doing to Crawford now. They're deflecting. They're going about it in a winding, indirect manner. They don't want to hit it precisely and say, okay, cool, fuck it, let's make the fight. No, they don't want that, because Crawford is that dangerous type of fighter. Look, just the fact that you hear me talk about him a lot doesn't make him any less dangerous. Okay, for you haters, it doesn't make him any less dangerous if you hear me talk about him and you feel some type of way and you come back and say, hey man, Crawford ain't beating him. It doesn't devalue who he is and what he's accomplished in the sport. Just because you hear me see me making comments or hear me talking, that does absolutely nothing to who he is in the sport of boxing, bro. Nothing. It doesn't take anything away from him physically. But I think I've stood on all 10 on code, integrity, because a lot of these cats was up here talking about Crawford every freaking day when they should have been talking about Spence. And they was running derogatory smear campaigns on Crawford's name, which never stopped him from getting a fight with Errol Spence. That's the wild part about it. You're doing a live stream every day on Crawford, which really has nothing to do with boxing. You come in here creating bullshit ass stories, but they'll get mad at somebody like me for calling them out on creating clickbait and false ass narratives, when you're supposed to be on board with Team Spence. But you're talking about Crawford every day because you're more engaged in trying to get super chats and viewership and subscribers. And the only thing you did was piss him off to go in there to T-Mobile and thrash him. I blame you all. I blame all the ones that was up here making all those videos, pushing all those false narratives, trying to, you was up here trying your best. You know what I'm saying? Trying your best to get Crawford's attention. Some of you all he responded to. but you was trying your best to dog this man the fuck out. And then he goes in there and thrashes, destroys the very same fighter you supposed to be supporting. And I think one of the reasons why he got destroyed the way he did, because partly you all was out here being assholes. Y'all was up here talking all that bullshit because you didn't have to lace up the gloves on that night. So when you saw that jab put him down in the second round, that was for y'all punk ass. That was for y'all punk ass. You know what I'm saying? That's for y'all punk ass talking all that shit. Crawford went out there and made it look too easy when he should have took his time a little bit and played with his food. You know what I'm saying? He should have just played with his food a little bit just to torture y'all punk asses some more. Now he fights Madrimov. You have something to say about it. Oh man, he look a certain way. But when Canelo was looking a certain way, I'm pretty sure people seen Edgar Berlanga land some shots on him. We seen Homie McGill land some shots. We seen Jermell Charlo make a mistake and hit Canelo with the soles of his shoe when he was, sprinting out the pocket. When he was goddamn sprinting from corner to corner, he kicked Canelo by mistake every now and then, trying to run away. John Ryder was successful with landing some punches on Nello. But you know what Canelo hasn't been successful at? Proving that he's number one in this era. When you have another number one fighter that meets all the qualifications, and he meets the qualifications, and it'll be tough for you to go up there and deal with Cinco de Crawford. Hey man, Cinco de Crawford's a real thing, man. We about to put on that green, white, and red. It's not like we haven't did it before. Don't act like we ain't did it before. You know what I'm saying? Don't act like we ain't did it before. We have worn the green, white, and red before, homie. It's nothing for us to put it on again for Cinco de Crawford in 2025. Y'all cats in the chat, the hottest in the game. Please do me a favor and hold these naysayers accountable. It's not like they don't have the right to their own, but they're not sticking to any type of standard operating procedures when it comes to boxing. I know boxing is not about morals and principles and ethics. It's not, because you get felons, you get anybody to come in here and fight, okay? What I'm saying is, these are cats who will tell you straight up, they know so much about boxing. They've been covering the sport all day, every day. But yet they'll zone in on a fighter and try their best to prove that in this case, the fighter doesn't qualify to fight someone like Canelo because he don't have the pay-per-view. So what if he had, look, check this out. What if Crawford was in Tank's position and Crawford was at a lower division? Let's just say Crawford was in a lower division like 40. Let's just put it to current day. Crawford, we know he was knocking out everybody at 147. Let's just put the pay-per-view numbers at 147. What if he was getting higher pay-per-view numbers at 147 and going in there and doing what he was doing, getting people out of there, and he's bringing in an average of 500, 600K or whatever? Would that be enough? Would that be enough? If Crawford would switch up with Tank and he was on pay-per-view like that, would it be enough if he was still in the lower division for him to say, for him to have the numbers, for him to have the division? You know what I'm saying? Let's even put it up to 154. What if Crawford had the numbers? And they're going to say, yeah, you can say what ifs all day. That's the only thing I can go off of. Because I told you already that Canelo is not 1% of the fighters in globally. Him and Tank, it's not 1% together. They're not even 1% of the total fighters in boxing. And then when you ask who has the higher numbers, people are always going to tell you Canelo has higher numbers than Tank. So with that said, Canelo is doing what he's doing. He has an autonomous freaking, his place is right here on top, with the numbers. But when it comes to the body of work, you have one other fighter that's close to you in weight. So weights, when it comes to those numbers, it shouldn't prevent Crawford from getting the opportunity to face Canelo Alvarez. Point blank, period, man. Stop ducking. You know what I'm saying? Hold these motherfuckers accountable. They come in here with all this so-called criteria. I've been on YouTube 1,500 years. And when I did it back in the Stone Ages, we didn't have social media, but goddamn it, if I could show you the fights I went to, it's just amazing. Well, there's a guy named Tommy Hackett. He was 26 feet tall. And man, they had this guy come in here. I'll say he was about 10 and a half. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, man. Let's talk about history today. Stop just creating fighters to put in place of a fighter just because you being a born-again hater. You being a full-time hater to say, oh, so-and-so should fight this. No, that already happened with Benavidez. He was the fool. He believed and he listened to what y'all say, and they made the Demetrius Andrade fight. David received nothing except a win on his boxing ledger from Demetrius Andrade, and he stopped him. He stopped him. And it didn't move the needle for him to get any closer to the ink drawing to face Canelo Alvarez. You know I ain't bullshitting you, yo. You know I'm not bullshitting you. Bud's paperwork is all in order and stapled together. You got to be able to read it. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to read it, man. Or get the one. You got to. Dan Tan on deck. What's good? You got to, man. That's why when they see this duck season sanctuary Canelo sign, they get all frustrated. Because look, I don't. It's not me against Canelo fans. It's not even like that. It's not even like that. It's just me against the false narratives when it comes to, Bud Crawford actually stepping into the ring again, to be greater. Because, when you hear the haters, they always say that Spence is the only name he got. But with that only name, he was a pound-for-pound fighter. With that only name, he was a unified champion. So, therefore, here's another fighter that's on the pound-for-pound list, too. I say it again, and I say it once more at another date. Here's another fighter on the pound-for-pound list that's within reach for Crawford to fight. There's no 160-pound fighters on the pound-for-pound list. None. There's no 160-pound. There's no 268-pound fighters on the pound-for-pound list. Canelo is it. There's only one 154-pound fighter on the pound-for-pound list. So with that being said, it should be extremely easy for you all to stop capping and start encouraging for this fight to take place. Hey, I understand a lot of you cats got PTSD from last year. I understand, man. I understand you did your secret squirrel mission and y'all went up there and low crawled up to Vegas. You was laughing and hee and ha-ha. And look, they were so anxious. They couldn't watch the undercard leading up to Spencer fight. Spencer Crawford. They couldn't watch it. They was out there getting fucked up at the concession. And then somebody say, hey, I think Spencer's about to do the ring walk. That's when all of them scurried their ass back to their seats. They said, this we've been waiting on. Yeah, I just can't wait to get paid. God damn, I bet all my motherfucking trailer money on this shit. All of it. I bet the copper stripping. I did everything, man. And then the ring walks happened. They all jumping up and down and shit, high-fiving. Fighter introduction. Referee instructions. Fighters touch gloves and go back to the corner. The first round hit, we all seen what happened. They was up there toasting. Yeah, man, this gonna be Spence. I can see from the first round, he's gonna only get stronger as the fight go on. This 12 rounds too, Crawford in trouble. And then the devil, he descended and sat his ass on the top rope. And he looked over at Spence and said, "You're in grave danger there, Errol Spence. The punishment that you're about to receive, please don't ever take it personal. I had nothing to do with it. This is all in the hands of your opponent. I tried talking to him. I couldn't get through. But you about to get your ass beat." And the devil left. The devil left the building. The devil came down there and tried to warn Spence. Beware. Beware. There's about to be a ass whooping. Hey, man, them Aerosex was there. Man, they thought for sure they was about to catch a bundle. Dude, they thought for sure they was going to catch a bundle. Serious, man, come on, man. They was like, we got it. And I couldn't sleep last night. They was up there, all up there like it was a slumber party back in the day. They talking about what they was doing in high school. You know what I'm saying? How this fight, going to change their life. I swear they probably mad as shit. They probably mad as a motherfucker right now, yo. They're sitting like they're in high school, sitting Indian style. You know what I'm saying? Playing board games in the freaking MGM. Hey, they up there all got their freaking shirts on for good luck. You got your smoking bud pack? Smoking bud pack. Everybody? Oh, good. We got the drink? Hey, man, let's have a toast right here. Pull them drinks out. Pull the drinks. Yeah. This to Spence victory, which we know is going to happen. This is what we want to show them, especially on YouTube. Them motherfuckers hate, especially WCS, man. I hate his ass. Salute to Spence getting this win, man. We know you can do it, Spence. We're behind you. We're your best fans. They all toasting and getting drunk. Only to go in that motherfucker and see that damn massacre play out, boy. God damn, I love it. I love talking about that massacre. So that's why I want to allow them to try to, do that little side hating gig that they got going on just because of the massacre that took place. It's like they're trying to, once again, administratively disqualify Crawford for being in there with Canelo Alvarez. Real talk. They're trying to say, he don't have this, but he didn't have the pay-per-view numbers when he stepped in there with Crawford. Spence, the same fighter that they was talking about. Oh, man, he fought Mikey Garcia. He did 350. He did 375. He did 4.25. He did 470. Man, I think he did 599. Depending on who you talking to, I swear to God, they mentioned that shit a million fucking times about him fighting Mikey Garcia and doing 300-some thousand. So if Crawford does 300-some thousand now, they want to make it seem like it's nothing. But last year, they was just using it in fucking debates to hype up Spence's credibility, bro. Prior to July 29th. They were saying, oh, Spence did this with Mikey Garcia, and he did this with Danny Garcia. Stop it, bro. No, stop it. They had one fighter, one fighter that was on Spence's resume that they loved talking about, and that was Mikey because he had multiple divisions to his name. So they was riding off that in every fucking debate. But Spence didn't have no history of no freaking high pay-per-view numbers. It didn't disqualify Crawford from stepping in there with Spence. It didn't disqualify him, did it? I mean, he stepped in there with Spence. You know, they was in the same division, but they wasn't talking this freaking pay-per-view shit. And I'm saying to myself, if you got confidence enough that Canelo can go in here and wash Crawford, why are you not encouraging it? Why are you not out here rooting for the ass whooping to take place? If y'all despise Crawford so much, wouldn't you want to root for him to go in there and get smashed by freaking Canelo? That doesn't puzzle me. It just shows me that a coward would show you 1,000 different ways on how they a coward. Easily. In the contact sport game, if you believe that a fighter is not qualified and they talking all that shit, or if in this case a fighter goes in here and beats your favorite fighter, you want them to go in there and you want them to get fucked up by somebody that you believe can whoop that ass, right? So Canelo is one of those fighters that they say they believe he can whoop Crawford ass, but you do not hear these dudes out here pushing for the fight to happen. They want to come up here with some shit that don't have nothing to do with anything, bro. They want to talk about this is who he should fight. I spoke with my people and they said that there's a guy called Lily Matson. Okay, they're gonna move him up from, let me see, where's Lily at? He's ranked 687th. If he can beat this good dude, because he's been knocking out cats on the goddamn Chitlin circuit. Lily Masson's been knocking him out. If Crawford can move up to 168 and knock out Lily Masson, who's never been stopped. Lily has 300 losses. Now those 300 losses, he's never been stopped. I mean, come on, bro. That shit right there don't make any sense to nobody. Like y'all wasn't, you know, that pay-per-view number comparison didn't stop Crawford from fighting Spence last year. It didn't stop it. And the wild part about it, y'all wasn't talking about the numbers disqualifying Crawford to face Spence last year. You just wanted to say, okay, yeah, we want to see, you know, Spence finally go in here and beat Crawford up because he ain't fought nobody. And our most popular fighter is Spence. And I know deep down in my heart that, you know, Spence gonna fuck Crawford up. That's what they were saying. That's what all of them were saying. He ain't fought nobody. 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 Well, what about Kell? Oh, my God. He mentioned Kell Brooks. Man, Kell Brooks, he didn't even fight at 147 for the Spence, man. I know he fought one division higher. Man, he ain't did anything, man. Did you see him at the weigh-in? He looked weight drained, man. He looked like even if he thinks about water, he gets dehydrated. You know? They didn't want to give no freaking credit to Kell Brooks. No credit to Sean Porter. But he did it better than Spence. He's the first man to stop Sean Porter. Y'all know the history. But I'm saying y'all wasn't talking these pay-per-view numbers to stop the Spence-Crawford fight last year. You have to understand, it was just last year that you all was talking. It was just 2022 when you all was talking about not the numbers that disqualifies Crawford, as in pay-per-view. Y'all was busy up here talking about the numbers on what he rate the fighting. What Crawford should get? He should get 20%. He should just take what they give him. Be quiet, shut up, learn how to be the challenger. Take what they give you. They was talking about them type of numbers. They was talking about conformity. They was talking about obedience. They was talking about that for only one fighter, and that was Crawford. They was busy up here telling him to just sit there and let them walk on you. And then after they're done, they should have came up with a suitable number for you to get paid. And it's not up to us to think about who you have to pay with that low ball ass number they was talking about. I'm serious, man. They wasn't talking about no pay-per-view. Them motherfuckers talking about how much Crawford should get paid, dog. They was mad because he walked away from negotiations, and they tried their best to say it was a duck. They tried their best to say, okay, if they plan on getting freaking net pay, right, because Crawford agreed to everything, then he should be able to see the books, right? Oh, my God, Al is never going to do bit. You heard the shit. I'm not going back. But I'm just letting you know they wasn't talking about no pay-per-view numbers when it was Spence. Coming back in 23, they wasn't talking about no pay-per-view numbers, bro. But in 24, they want to talk about pay-per-view numbers. They want to talk about somebody who don't sell, but if you look at the T-Mobile arena, that is cap. That is cap. That's untrue. The T-Mobile arena was super packed. My Dream Off fight was super packed. So if the media want to continue not to put Crawford's numbers out there just so he can always remain in the shadows of Canelo, cool. Media's always been corrupted and lacks integrity. But I'm just trying to let y'all know at the end of the day, why are y'all trying to switch up the motherfucking pitch? Why y'all trying to switch up the pitch? Y'all, look, y'all up here trying to throw a motherfucking underhanded. They trying to throw some shit that, nah, I know this profession, but we're going to do underhand pitches today. And shit. And we're gonna use a walnut. We ain't gonna use a regular ball. See, can you swing and hit that? And it's still the mandatory 3 strikes and you're out. What's the numbers, man? Why y'all so heavy on the pay-per-view numbers to disqualify him for a fight in 2024? Why y'all not talking about, Canelo won 100+ million for a fighter that y'all say is not qualified per the pay-per-view numbers? Why do Canelo want 100 million to fight Crawford if it's all about the pay-per-view numbers? Don't you think he'll be able to make a solid, money on the back end? But he wants 100 million or whatever to face Crawford guaranteed? Guaranteed? You want that money to face? I mean, are you there to fight? Or do you want to payday? It looks like Canelo want a payday, y'all. Because at the end of the day, he gonna give that speech to all his Mexican fans. He gonna put his hand, he gonna wave to the Mexican fans. He say, "Ay, muchas gracias to everyone that came and seen me fight. Obviously, Crawford was the better fighter tonight. And yeah, he shocked me. I didn't expect a lot of what he was doing. He fought a good fight. I have to go home and think about it. I have to go back to the drawing board. He kicked my ass something serious. I have to go back and rest. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to call Spence up and ask him how he felt, how he got through his freaking post-fight. I know he was punching passports, but I'm just going to ask him mentally, how did he get through this ass whooping? Because, me and Eddie, we didn't think it was going to come, as furious as it did, but it did, man. I'm serious, yo. Shout out to the OG Mr. Golden. What's good? Shout out to TV in the building. What's up with you, man? Bud worried the aerosexuals when he was signed to Top Rank, but Bud scared the shit out of them when he became a free agent. Nobody's safe. Look, him coming a free agent, they was mad at that shit too, there, Toby. I mean, they everything Bud had going on to this day, shawty. Look, he was signed with Top Rank. They mad. They say he should leave the plantation. Bob Arum say he knows enough money to buy a house in Beverly Hills. Same old shit. Boom, he leaves. Now they want to say he's under investigation in MTK, Daniel Cunningham, and all the other stuff. And then they say, oh, you should just go lay down at the step of the PBC. You know what I'm saying? And take what Al Heyman gonna give you. Oh man, how dare Bud go in there with no promoter? He's stupid. He don't know no business. I mean, I listen to all these freaking people. That's why I can go off the top. I listen to all them bogus community bathroom narratives, those debates. You know what I'm saying? Those toilet bowl debates, bro. Or people just sitting up here saying some crazy shit. I mean, some crazy shit, yo. They had all these demands for Crawford. Lead top rank. Now you're a free agent. Why you a free agent? Why you don't have a promoter? Oh, he's negotiating a Spence fight. Why you don't have a promoter this negotiate? You're not going to be able to go over there, Al Heyman, and you're not going to be able to get him to do anything. Well, man, he's so stupid. He don't know what he's doing. This, that, and the other. I mean, it's the same shit over and over again. You don't rate this. You should only get paid 20%. You should only get paid 50%. I mean, he couldn't make the right move for nothing. And then when he dropped out and went and fought Albanesian, man, there was a problem with that shit, bro. It was a problem with that. They was calling this man all sorts of names. And the evidence was out there. PBC wanted to have the fight in 23, and Bud wanted to have it in 22. Bud got what he wanted. Then came back to 23, and we got to witness the T-Mobile massacre. Now, in the aftermath of it all, you have people that still recovering. And then it took them several months. And then when he got the fight with Madrimov, they was like, Bud gonna find out what 154 is. He gonna find out this division is no joke. That's too much for him. He gonna find out. It's too much for him. He's small. We're talking about 35 Bud. You know what I'm saying? They still talking about Bud a 35 pounder. But when Mikey Garcia was moving up for Spence, they'd say, oh, that's a featherweight right there. That's a featherweight. Oh, my God, that's a featherweight. Why Spence want to fight a featherweight? Man, that's bogus, yo. But no, they fighting in Texas, man. And he gonna bring the Mexican fans, get them numbers up. Oh, for real? Yeah, that's good. And then they go do a live stream, man. Spence is good for business. He's fighting Mikey Garcia, who has a whole country behind him. You know what I'm saying? He's a well-known Mexican fighter. He has the Garcia pedigree behind him. Oh, man, this is going to be awesome. But then you hear them do the debate, and they say, oh, Spence brought in 350. Man, get out of here, shawty, man. Get out. Damn. Hey, quality over quantity. That's why I appreciate the chat, the hottest in the game. They don't sit up here and just follow along like them sheep. You know what I'm saying? They're not willing to put on that goddamn wool jacket and walk around there and just looking stupid. Appreciate y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? Continue to do what you do with boxing. I'm not going to say, be smart. Boxing, it depends on what narratives you want to push, what's true and what's untrue. But keep your eyes, peeled for those Canelo fans that's out here trying to detour everyone from Crawford going in there fighting Canelo. And I just come from a different cloth, I guess. I'm cut from a different cloth. I thought it was all about the challenge. But I guess, sitting on your ass all day, doing live streams, your butt cheeks are too goddamn worn down. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers dealing with hemorrhoids or something. They irritated for just anything. They can't think straight. They ain't trying to make the biggest fight in boxing. They just trying to come up with some bullshit as excuses like, man, he should fight this person right here, man. Lily Manson. If he gets through Lily Manson, he should be qualified. Look, they want Crawford to fight a fighter that Canelo wouldn't even fight. How stupid are you to push that out to the media? You want him to fight Benavidez, who Canelo himself in his division wouldn't fight. Once again, why y'all living these double lives, man? You want Crawford to fight Benavidez, who Canelo didn't fight, and to make up this own little fairy tale. Hey, if you show that you can beat Benavidez, then the fans will support you more. Give a fuck about them fake ass fans. Ain't nobody give a fuck about y'all, man. Y'all create this freaking huge community of fans that actually mean nothing. Tomorrow, everybody. Who the fuck is everybody? At the end of the day, who the fuck is everybody? Because everybody don't support the same fighters. Everybody don't support boxing. So to come up with that narrative was the dumbest shit ever. To come up here and say, well, we're just going to throw it out there. If he's stupid enough to bite on it, like David Benavidez, then that's his own problem. But they want to say, yeah, go up here and prove that you can beat David Benavidez, and then everybody will, be behind you. And so, no, what you're going to do is critique the fight, find all the cons that you did, all the minuses. You're going to, you're going to shred it down as much as possible to the bare minimum. And then you're going to still say, well, no, I thought that fight, see, he won, man, but no, man. Benavidez was weight drain coming down to there. Crawford should have went up to 75. Then it would have been a fair. One thing Crawford has a habit of is fighting weight drain fighters. You know what I'm saying? We've seen that with Spence. And he just did it to David Benavidez. So, no, fuck him, man. He don't need to fight Canelo. It'll always be some shit, bro. It will always be something next. And when you say the next, it's not going to be something next to get you closer to this fight being made. Nothing. It's no info. It's no news. Nothing. Yeah, man. Don't even bring out him not knocking out little Mikey. Don't even bring that up, man. Don't even bring that up. Don't bring that up. Because Bud never been stopped. But they get a fresh fight for him because he was just sitting up there stopping cats at 147. He get a fresh division and he goes the distance. And all they want to look at is how many shots that Madrimov landed. Like in his other fights at 147, he never got hit. Like he never got hit in any of his fights. Like he went in there and just was cleaning motherfuckers. Bam, bam, bam. Just knocking them out early. No, a lot of his fights, there was some rounds. Many of his fights didn't end like Amir Khan or freaking Julius Ndongo. But I'm just saying, at 147, he had a white glove moment where he cleaned out the division, and he came up there from Jeff Hearn all the way to Errol Spence. Stoppages. And that's what they can't do. They can't, it doesn't sit with them well, yo. That hairball just sit. It don't matter what they drink. It don't matter how much sweat that them land, on their back underneath Canelo's crotch. Hydrating when he's hitting the heavy bag, drinking all of his cinnamon. Only to get hydrated and come back on here. Nah, Crawford don't need to fight Canelo, man. I was just in the gym. I seen him training. And boy, did that cinnamon sweat taste delicious. Tastes like a fresh made margarita. I love supporting him. It was a little salty though, dude. I ain't asking for no salt on the motherfucking glass, but shit. But shout out to the hottest chat in the game, man. We'll do it again another day, another time. Hit the like button and everything else. Appreciate you pulling up. I'm out. Peace.